Kia ora everyone, my name is Sebastian Bustamante. I'm the director of Ako for Niños project, a project that we are developing here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, New Zealand, in collaboration with ALAC Inc., Aotearoa Latin American Community, and Auckland University.
Kia ora, ko James toko ingoa. I'm James and I've been the project manager and one of the designers on this Ako for Niños project. And providing some support through AUT as well.
Ako for Niños is an animated children's series bringing migrant participation and intercultural co-design to bring meaningful Tikanga to Tauiwi.
Give a bit of an overview of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk more about that process and context that informed the project. We're going to talk about some of the current outcomes. As it's an ongoing project, we haven't quite finished the animations, but we have some stuff to show. Some kind of key points we want to touch upon is the Tauiwi creatively participating in projects such as this can construct new, meaningful cultural knowledge. We want to talk about a co-design process of intercultural creative projects with Māori kaitiaki, which are guardians or advisors, and the importance of this, and the empowering potential of Māori values for Tauiwi. I also just want to say Valance Smith, who's one of the co-authors of this presentation, couldn't be here today, but Valance was an integral part of this process as our kaitiaki guardian Māori advisor. So thanks very much for that, Valance.
Ako for Niños is an ongoing intercultural animation project which seeks to meaningfully educate New Zealand Tauiwi, the country's diverse groups including migrants and refugees, on the values, customs and protocols of Maori. The project has been implemented by a migrant social services organization, ALAC Inc., along with a media design team, and introduced Latin American Tauiwi to Tikanga through an animated children's series developed with a community short story writing competition and co-design with Kaitiaki Maori Guardian Advisor. ALAC Inc. works with communities in their positive resettlement, working and taking into account their potential, aptitudes and capabilities to create opportunities for them under the principles of well-being, el buen vivir, and te tiriti o waitangi.
The mission and values in the constitution of ALAC Inc. is an acknowledgement of the significance of tangata whenua, the people of the land in Aotearoa, and Māori principles, Tikanga. There's also within the Constitution a declaration of adherence to te tiriti o waitangi and the key principles of te tiriti. This context has informed the background to the creation of the Ako for Niños project and influenced the rationale for implementing this project.
Foundation or philanthropic organization based in New Zealand made a big contribution, providing us a grant to planning and design this project. They recognize the valuable contribution that our organization makes in the community, and they've been helping us to create Glances of Diversity exhibition, which is the exhibition that put together all their representation for the Latin American artists.
Within a context of Aotearoa, Māori are recognised in te tiriti o waitangi, the founding document of New Zealand, as partners with Pākehā. Just for a bit more context on this project. Additionally, Māori knowledge and tikanga are important to society and culture in Aotearoa. This Māori culture is unique to Aotearoa, New Zealand and the South Pacific. It's found nowhere else. Within a New Zealand context, Māori culture is also a key aspect of New Zealand's tourism industry and how Aotearoa brands itself to the rest of the world. It's an element that draws people to visit New Zealand and experience a unique culture within the South Pacific. Despite this, there's been a historic lack of attention paid to developing meaningful understandings of Māori perspectives for New Zealand Tauiwi. Citizenship ceremonies in Aotearoa typically just depict a kind of Pākehā perspective of New Zealand identity, and their allegiance is made to the Queen and the British Crown, but none to the iwi that signed the treaty. These ceremonies and welcome to New Zealand are not centred in any sense of Māori protocol or tikanga, apart from some surface level lip service and tokenism. It's a very Western and colonial process. Additionally, the New Zealand migration website is no sign of multicultural representation. The view of New Zealand given for new migrants and refugees is predominantly a Pākehā one. Then when the children of Tauiwi go to school in Aotearoa, they're most likely to enter a predominantly Western system unless they go to a particularly Māori-orientated school. And these systems are based upon Māori values and educational philosophies. So there have been a few previous projects which look to introduce Tauiwi to Māori worldviews. There's this example from ACE, which was Tikanga helping refugee settlement. But these types of projects are usually centred on experiential learning on marae, and there's been a lack of attention paid to the potential of audio-visual arts and media tools to disseminate multicultural values to refugee and migrant communities. There are some opportunities for Tauiwi to learn about and teach their children about Māori worldviews, such as content on Māori TV or enrolling in te reo courses, but these have to be self-initiated and driven by individuals. There are less community-driven incentives which Ako for Niños looks to fill this gap and highlight the importance of Māori worldviews for Tauiwi.
Ako for Niños endeavored to address current shortage of engaging resources on Māori worldviews for Tauiwi communities, create opportunities for Tauiwi to benefit from Māori epistemology, and foster healthy community relationship between Māori and Latin American Tauiwi.
One of the driving pedagogical influences for this project was Paulo Freire, and his theories around that real learning happens when the learner is empowered to actively engage with real-world content, to make their own connections and to construct their own meaning. Freire's view that real learning takes place for the learner, they must own the process and be an active agent and meaning maker in the process, influenced the design of the methodology to develop the Ako for Niños project, where Tauiwi were given a list of definitions of tikanga on social media and provoked or prompted to write a short story, a creative interpretation around this tikanga to transliterate the tikanga values into their own understandings. So an experiential learning process. Guided by advice from Te Wānanga o Aotearoa and Te Arapautama at AUT, the ALAC and media design team received recommendations and information on definitions of fundamental tikanga, and our collaborators at Te Wānanga and AUT also suggested some text to read on tikanga Māori values to inform this kaupapa. This is where the co-design process started, and it was founded upon a relationship based on mutual understanding and developing more community relationships and developing mutual benefit for both Māori and Latin American Tauiwi and Aotearoa.
A media design team was put together to adapt the stories into stop motion, and to the animation team was made up of Latin American, Maori, other migrant groups, Pākehā and collaborators. The team hired a venue on Cairo, Monster Valley, to work on the 3 screenplay and produce a stop motion handmade intro sequence for the series. Stop motion was decided upon to complement and provide something more organic and handmade alongside the 2D digital episodes. Then gave the series a sense of authenticity, handmade, handcraft, unique and human feel. So we invite to see this intro.
So by converting these stories into aesthetically pleasing animated episodes, the tikanga and the narratives have been made more captivating for young audiences and their families, appealing to the senses and emotions through visual storytelling, sound design and music. We're looking forward to the screening of these episodes for the community early next year, COVID allowing, to see and hear their responses from these episodes. There's also potential to engage creative participation of Tauiwi with new and emerging technologies and transmit and disseminate new cultural knowledge in new and interesting ways using such forms as augmented reality, virtual reality, gamification, and new forms of social media, among others. Creative participation encourages new cultural knowledge to be imaginatively translated into personal interpretations and expressions of Tauiwi, allowing Indigenous perspectives to be made more meaningful for migrants and refugees.
This meaningful engagement with Maori values, which are more grounded in relation and human-centered concept, can empower Tauiwi to feel more cared for and interconnected with their new home and culture.
Additionally, co-design with Māori can help to honour Te Tiriti and create spaces where Tauiwi, Pākehā and Māori interface in genuine partnerships and creative power sharing, and it enhances the credibility and value of the outcomes.
Thank you very much to having us today. We are very honoured to participate on Link 2021.
Gracias, kia ora, and thanks for listening.